I really want to thank you all for being here. I want to especially honor the dancers, none of whom know Lex, but all of whom were willing to take a very tough look at what it would be like to lose someone they love, a sister, brother, cousin, friend, mother, father, of cancer, because the only way to execute this piece is to really be able to immerse yourself into it. So these are young kids, or they're teenagers, but that's a lot to ask of teenagers who haven't experienced that. So I really want to honor all the hard work that they have done. Right now I want to introduce you to Lexi's dad. I don't know where he is. Okay. I don't have my glasses on. So I want to introduce you to Lexi's dad, Robert Giallella. And thank you all for being here and being part of this experience.
I'd like to say thank you all so much for coming. Something that I myself had never thought about. A little child getting cancer because they're children and they're not supposed to have cancer. My daughter Alexis was my very best friend in the whole world. We hunted, we fished, we kayaked, we camped. She was every reason that I breathed. And when suddenly you just get a call and say, she's just filled with these tumors, your life just changes forever. And I've learned how short that life can be, whether today, tomorrow, we don't really know. So we need to embrace each other and just care like today is the last. I never realized about childhood cancer until it happened to my daughter, but every day now I think about it. And hopefully through things like this, childhood cancer awareness, maybe there's some help out there that some child can get a little earlier than expected, and maybe there can be a different outcome. And once again, thank you so much everybody for coming.
The journey of Lexi's cancer. It just still feels kind of like a storm just sort of hit and passed really quick, relatively, because it didn't seem long enough to go from being completely vibrant and full of life to having barely any life left, and then passing away. It seemed so fast, but at the same time, the daily moments definitely they also seem to pass really slowly, and seeing Lexi go through not just the physical pain of everything that she went through, but having to emotionally wrap your head around the idea that you might not live when you're so young, and who knows, nobody knows what death is or what it's going to be like or how it's going to affect you or impact everyone around you, and it's not something that's real. It's just an idea, and to have to be so young and to live every single day knowing that it was possible, that might be how the story ends. But that's actually not how she lived the day-to-day. She actually was incredibly positive, and she stayed strong for everyone around her. And every time I saw her, if we would break down, she would be the one to just, like, it's okay, we're gonna do the next thing. And they say, that the tumor's getting smaller, and I just have to take this medicine. And she carried us through the journey. And it just seemed just wasn't enough time. It wasn't enough time to go from having all the dreams and hopes of seeing her grow up and become a young woman and live her life and do any number of things, to just seeing her, her final days just wasn't long enough.
My name is Brenda Lynn Siegel, and I'm the father of Alexis Giallella. I remember the day, September 1st, that I was working a 12-hour night shift, and my daughter Alexis was staying with her grandma, and she had a little pain in her side, and Lexi's mom was away, and so grandma took her to the emergency room to check on the little pain that she had. 20 minutes later, they called me back at work and said that I needed to come to Grace Cottage Hospital immediately, because they had to ride the ambulance with Alexis to Dartmouth because they had found mass tumors on her liver and lungs. At that time, my world just became blank. Just wondered, how could this be happening? A perfectly healthy 14-year-old girl, just who lived life to the fullest, happy-go-lucky, never had any pains, played sports, just no signs of anything. So what normally would take a half an hour ride seemed to take an hour and a half, just in a blur. And when I got there, I just remember Lexi just looking at me and saying, "Daddy, am I gonna die?" And all I could say is, "I don't know." So I rode up to Dartmouth in the ambulance with Lexi, and she was all concerned. After finding out she had tumor, she was all concerned about her daddy getting motion sickness and asking me if I was okay, because I felt like I was going to throw up. I just thought it was so special that even though she had just found out such horrible information, that she could still think of her daddy and being okay. I remember riding to the hospital and just totally numb and not knowing what was going to happen from that day on.
When I think about Lex, it's really hard not to think of her it's really hard not to think of just the time when she had cancer, even though it was such a small part of her life in the big picture. But it was so big that it's just hard that that's the only thing that really comes to mind at first. It's just that whole horrible experience. And so when I think of her, I always try to think before that, when we made all our good memories of just as we were kids, just having fun and playing games, and I just try to think back on those good memories.
So Lexi was definitely more than a cousin to me. She was definitely a sister, but more of more just like my best friend, and she really was always the one out of Robin and me and her. She was always the really like strong one, and the one that was always standing up for us, and it was really hard, to see her become really, not strong anymore, and that we had to be strong for her. But, even in the times when we would get like the bad news, she was always the one that was keeping us smiling and staying positive when all of us really broke down. But before she got sick, she was always so happy, and she always had a smile on her face, and she was always going, and she always had so much energy, and I miss her a lot, and it's kind of scary to me to think, I'm not like, we'll never forget about her, but it's scary to think about her memory kind of like fading almost, as time goes by. And, she really did leave like a mark on her little piece of the world, and like it's hard to describe like how she made all of us feel to other people, because you really just had to know her to like know who she was and like how she was and how much like joy she brought to everybody, and how beautiful of a person she really was, and how beautiful she still is. And I think that it's really hard for anybody to really understand what it's like to go through somebody of having cancer. You can't tell them how to feel or how to react. It's really it's personal. It's different for everybody. But you know, my hope for anybody that, you know, any family member or any child going through cancer would be to just love that person, or, you know, just love every day and just love each person around you like Lex really did. Every person that she met, whether she knew them or not, she really just greeted them with so much love and care. And she just really made the best of every single day, every single minute that she had. And she was just always just making the best of it.
I guess maybe just the
then Lexi knew. I found out afterwards that Lexi had asked her mom if she was going to die, and her mom had to tell her she was. That Lexi called all the doctors and thanked them for giving her as much life as they did, and told them that she loved them. I stayed by Alexis' side until she started the secretions for 3 days, which sounds like they're gasping for air. It killed me. As a father, you feel like the most helpless human being. I've always able to protect my daughter. I just couldn't make this one okay.
I feel like the final time that she went into the hospital at the beginning of October, that was the long ending of her life. And we would go up almost, well, every other day, I guess, and see her. And the little things that she would do, if she would take a drink or be able to eat something, it just made us so excited to see her, and I guess just gave us hope that she was still holding on to life, even though we knew that she wasn't going to make it. And it was the end of her life was not just when she took her last breaths, but she was mostly sleeping when we were up there seeing her, and she would wake up, her eyes sometimes would just open and she would see everyone around her, and she would make eye contact with us and just sort of reach for someone, and it was, hard doesn't even describe it. It's indescribable just to see her. It was just such a helpless feeling. And when we had the moment that I'm most thankful for at the end, at the very, very end, within the last week of her life, we happened to be there and she woke up. She woke up for, a day or something. She was pretty conscious for like a day, and we happened to be there when she was opening her eyes and she was recognizing people, and she couldn't talk that much, but she opened her eyes when we were over here, and we were all around her holding her hand, and she told us she loved us, and it was hard because I knew she didn't want to be there, and I knew she just wanted to go home. And when she finally did pass away, I went up there to meet her dad and her mom, and I was with my mom, and my brother met me out in the lobby, and he said she had a smile on her face, and I went in and she had the littlest Lexi grin on her face that didn't really seem possible that could happen, but she had a little devilish grin on her face, and it just somehow it made everyone feel like just telling us that she's finally not hurting and that she's okay, and just won't forget standing there and looking at her for the last time and getting to kiss her head for the last time. Just miss her.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come
my soul so weary,
and
troubles
my
come and my heart burden
be,
be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy sea. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up I love you, Lexi.